بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. Dear viewers, Assalamu alaikum rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, and welcome to another episode of The Virtues of Islam. In the previous episode, we've been discussing the virtue of preserving your brother's honor when we have close relationships with our brothers in the brotherhood of Islam. Because one of the virtues of Islam is that it forms a precise brotherhood, a beautiful brotherhood that's for the sake of Allah. And we've been discussing the necessity of brothers preserving the honor of another brother. And that there are various ways in which this is done, especially by close companions. So we spoke about close companions that when they come together, that because they're close, one will notice in the other one shortcomings because he's human. He's in a better position to see these shortcomings than those who are not as close to his brother. And when he notices these shortcomings, he must not broadcast them to others. Rather, he should advise his brother and not spread what he saw. Another way to preserve the honor of brothers that are close is to refrain, to keep away from interrogating your brother or searching into his personal matters that he has not told you about, that he has chosen not to disclose to you. Don't interrogate him. Don't search into his background. For example, you see your brother somewhere and you ask him, "What are you doing here? Why did you visit so-and-so?" This type of questioning is intruding into matters that do not concern you. If he wanted to tell you, he would. In fact, it may be better for you if you don't know. The Messenger of Allah ﷺ said, "Min husn al-Islam al-mar'u tarkuhu ma la ya'ni." Part of doing good in Islam is a person leaving alone that which does not concern him. And you find people sometimes, they become angry and they become hurt because they consider themselves close to another person and the person bought something and they weren't informed, or they took a trip and they didn't inform this person, and they may say, "Well, they took a trip. I didn't know. They didn't tell me." Ask yourself, if you find yourself feeling that way, ask yourself, is it a right of brotherhood that he has to tell me every single thing that he does, every preparation for every trip, every little bit of money that he may receive, every piece of clothes that he may buy, every time he goes to a store, I should be informed? No, that's not a right of brotherhood. That's not necessarily a part of brotherhood. Therefore, if you see your brother somewhere occupied with something, do not begin to question him about what he's engaged in or why he has taken this or that course of action. Being a close companion does not require that your brother tell you about everything he does. Same for you, sister. It doesn't require that your sister, that you've known for many years, tell you everything that she's about to do. And we shouldn't feel hurt if we don't know about those things. And we shouldn't feel that our friendship has been damaged or be suspicious that something is going on. None of those things. Because it is not a right of brotherhood that we involve our close companions in every single thing that we do. Being a close companion does not require that your brother tell you about everything he does. People are entitled to their privacy. Another way in which close companions can preserve the honor of each other is guarding your brother's private affairs that he does disclose to you. So the first one talked about if he doesn't tell you, don't pry. If he does tell you, don't broadcast what he does not want you to tell others. Your brother comes to you and discloses, meaning he lets you in on. He tells you a secret, discloses his point of view about something, or gives you his opinion about an issue because you are his trusted companion. And this is why he's telling you. He wants you to know. He wants to know from you, what do you think? Is he correct in his opinion about something or someone, or mistaken? If you are a true brother to him or a true sister to that sister, and you know that he expects you to keep what he says between the two of you, you will do that if you are a true brother to him, and sister if you are a true sister to the sister. You will not broadcast what he has said to you near and far. And this environment of social media, at times it may be, as we say, alluring, attractive to have something to say, but not the private affairs that your close companion says to you and asks you about your opinion and wants you to keep it to yourself. You must keep it to yourself. At times, close companions involve being discreet, meaning keeping a secret. In this regard, it's reported in Sunan Abi Dawood the following hadith. الرجل إذا حدث الرجل بحديث ثم التفت عنه فهي أمانة. When a man tells another man something and looks around from side to side, it is a trust. And here it means it's a secret. So even the body, the physiology of a person, their body action, the bodily actions, or they say the body language. The Prophet said, if someone comes to you and he's talking to you, and while talking to you, he's looking from side to side to see if anyone else can hear him, that's a secret. His body language tells you this information is for you. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has ordered us to protect the trust. Even if a person chooses to reveal a secret to his companion, that companion must keep it a secret, especially if he's instructed to do so. And of course, we're talking about private, halal situations between people. Another point between us as a virtue is not to be suspicious, not to be unnecessarily suspicious of our brothers and sisters. True brotherhood requires that we assume that our brothers are honest and obedient to Allah. That's our assumption. Therefore, in dealing with your close companion and with the Muslims and brothers in general, you must avoid being suspicious of each other. Furthermore, precaution must be taken to avoid suspicion. Allah Azza wa Jal has forbidden suspicion. He says, وَاجْتَنِبُوا كَثِيرًا مِنَ الظَّنِّ إِنَّ بَعْضَ الظَّنِّ إِثْمٌ. Avoid much suspicion. Indeed, some suspicions are sins. The people of knowledge have explained that this means that there are suspicions that are sinful and some that are praiseworthy. So we should know the difference between a praiseworthy suspicion, where circumstances show that there's suspicion of a certain thing. If you see a woman going into a place with a man and they are not married and they're going to a private place, the circumstances are not good, and a person can assume evil of them. One, because they're breaking the law of the religion. And so in circumstances, you can be suspicious of them circumstantially. As for without any reason whatsoever, we should not be suspicious of our brothers and sisters. However, the preceding verses about having suspicion about your brother and having an evil assumption about him. The Messenger of Allah ﷺ said, إِيَّاكُمْ وَالظَّنِّ. Beware of suspicion. This statement is general and is dealing with speech. He ﷺ has prohibited suspicion as it relates to actions. He said, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, فَإِنَّ الظَّنَّ أَكْذَبُ الْحَدِيثِ. Suspicion is the most lying speech. This statement of the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam dealing with suspicion that takes place in the heart. Therefore, if you detect within yourself suspicion, you have to realize that this type of suspicion is the most lying type of speech. It's your brother's right over you that you only assume good of him and stay away from being suspicious of him, especially when there's no reason. Evil suspicion is a sin upon the one who possesses it. Suspicion is a sin upon a person because it opposes the foundation of proper Islamic brotherhood. It opposes the virtue of the brotherhood, which is that we assume the good of our brothers. And sisters, we assume the good of our sisters. And Imam Ahmed, may Allah have mercy upon him, in addition to other scholars, reported in his book, Az-Zuhud, that Umar ibn Khattab once gave the following advice, radiallahu anhu. لا تظنوا بكلمة خرجت من أخيك المؤمن شرا وأنت تجد لها في الخير محملة. Do not assume evil about a word that comes from your believing brother's mouth if you find there's a possibility of it being good. Umar ibn Khattab radiallahu anhu is advising that a brother is given the benefit of the doubt in his statements as long as there's a possibility of that statement meaning something good. Do not assume evil of it. This is because the basic assumption of your brother's statement is that he will say what is proper and that he will not speak falsehood. Therefore, if the possibility exists that his statement is proper and correct, then assume that of his statement and do not assume evil of him. In this way, you keep your brother safe from a lot of harsh criticism and suspicion, and you protect yourself from the commission of a sin. You also can protect yourself and your brother from unwanted agitation and negative emotionalism. Abdullah ibn Mubarak, may Allah have mercy on him, once said, Al-Mu'min yatlubu ma'adir yartamis ma'adira. The believer is he who gives his brother the means to be excused, and he searches for a way to excuse him. Statements from people can originate from many situations. However, shaitan comes to a Muslim to restrict the meanings of statements to only mean negativity, so that he can incite between the brothers hostility and hatred. Allah says, إنما يريد الشيطان أن يوقع بينكم العداوة والبغضاء في الخمر والميسر ويصدكم عن ذكر الله وعن الصلاة فهل أنتم منتهون. Shaitan, Satan, the devil, only wants to incite enmity and hatred between you with intoxicants and gambling and hinder you from the remembrance of Allah and from the Salah. So will you not then abstain? Shaitan restricts the possibilities of words and situations to only evil, thereby causing sin. It will only cause you and your brother to have an aversion to each other and destroy the love between you. Therefore, if a statement comes from a believer, a person with whom you have established a clear brotherhood, do not allow shaitan to whisper to you so that you conceptualize the meaning to be evil. Rather, accept it as good so that you can maintain love for your brother in your heart. If a brother gives you the wrong meaning, if a brother gives the wrong meaning to his brother's words and adds the most evil meaning to it, he has violated his brother's rights and only assuming evil of him. This leads us to another right. Avoiding suspicion that can lead to harsh words also means to avoid disputes and arguments between ourselves and our brothers and sisters, to avoid disputes and arguments between yourselves and the sisters. Having disputes diminishes love and long-time friendships and replaces them with arguing, hatred, and aversion between people. This is what arguing does. So what is argumentation? What is an argument? It starts when there's a discussion of a particular issue between two or more people. Each one becomes obsessively zealous about his opinion on the matter, with the goal of seeing their own opinion be victorious over others. So people begin to discuss something, and someone becomes zealous to be victorious in the discussion. They want to see their opinion dominate the discussion. Each person brings evidence for the stance they have taken. This kind of exchange has an unpleasant effect on the soul of a person. This sort of disputation, this sort of argumentation occurred between some of the companions. Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu said to Umar radiallahu anhu, "You only desire to differ with me," and they were companions. It is obligatory for the relationship between Muslims that a Muslim has with his brother a close friend to avoid arguments. Don't argue. When discussions take place about an issue, you may see it from one point of view while your brother sees the same issue differently. It becomes negative when you differ with him and you both zealously hold on to your points of view. You strongly hold on to the point of view. He holds his and you hold yours. You bring evidence for your point of view while raising your voice and your point of view in a defensive posture. This kind of exchange is not peaceful and could lead to both of you holding a grudge with one another. We'll have more on this topic, inshallah, in the coming episode. I'm Talib Abdullah for the Sharjah Broadcasting Corporation. Assalamu alaikum rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.